Can I have your attention, please? We'll be starting up shortly. Good evening, and welcome to the Lowell Planning Board for Monday, November 20th, 2023. The first matter on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for November 6th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the November 6th meeting as presented.
I'll second the motion. I know, Caleb, you weren't present.
No, abstain.
So,
Yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the motion carries, 2 in favor, none against. Okay, moving along, the first matter, we have the special permit for Central Street. I'm going to read the advertisement. We've been informed that the legal notices didn't go out, so it's going to be continued to February 5th. So, special permit, 9 Central Street. The Lowell Planning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by Massey Stephan Solutions, LLC, to open a professional office in the ground floor of the existing building at 9 Central Street. The subject property is located in the downtown mixed-use zoning district. The proposal requires special permit approval from the Lowell Planning Board per Article 12.7 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Please note that the legal ad did not run for this proposal. Therefore, it is required that the matter will be continued to February 5th, 2024, which was requested by staff. So I'll make a motion that we continue the matter to February 5th.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
So the matter, anybody's here for that matter, anybody's watching for Central Street, they'll be continued to 2/5/2024. Okay, moving along on the agenda, we have a special permit, 44 Lundberg Street. The Lowell Planning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by Ellison A. Forte to split the existing lot into 2 lots and construct a new single-family home on the newly created lot. The subject property is located in the traditional single-family zoning district. The proposal requires special permit approval from the Lowell Planning Board per section 5.1.17 to reduce the required frontage. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening to all. For the record, my name is John Geary of Geary & Geary LLP, 32 Church Street, Lowell, Mass. I'm here tonight representing the applicant, Ed Forte. Ed is with us tonight, as is Matt Hammer of Landplex Consulting. By the way, Ed is a mason contractor that has an excellent reputation for his quality of workmanship. He does quite a bit of work in the city of Lowell and the surrounding area. The subject property is owned by the estate of William Oliver. This property has been in the Oliver family for decades. Mr. Oliver passed away in 2022, and the family is now ready to sell this property. By way of background, we were before the Zoning Board of Appeals back on October 13th for variances for both lots for lot area and lot area per dwelling unit and floor area ratio with regard to the existing home. We received a unanimous vote from the Zoning Board for the relief that we were requesting. All of the board members commented that they liked the project quite a bit. They thought it was a compliment to the neighborhood. So for tonight, for the board's review, we have submitted a site plan which also proposes landscaping on the newly created lot. We've provided elevations and floor plans and a rendering of the property. The property as it exists now consists of an existing single-family home on an 11,000 square foot lot in the traditional single-family zoning district. As the chairman mentioned, we're here tonight seeking a special permit pursuant to 5.1.17 for reduction of frontage for both lots. As the board knows, the intent of 5.1.17 is to allow for the building, in this case, of a single-family home with reduced frontage, with this board's oversight with regard to the design, landscaping, and et cetera. The traditional single-family zoning district requires that the minimum frontage be 70 feet for each lot. The applicant is proposing to create 2 lots out of this existing single lot. Each lot will consist of 5,500 square feet and 55 feet of frontage. The vast majority of the surrounding property and generally within this neighborhood have less than 50 feet of frontage. The proposed frontage of 55 feet, as well as the lot size, is very consistent with what exists in the neighborhood. Lundberg Street runs perpendicular to Gorham Street. It runs down to Meadowcroft. The neighborhood consists of, this particular street consists of many single-family homes, a few multifamilies, and a few condominium complexes. With my application, I've included an exhibit which demonstrates that the lot sizes that we are proposing are very consistent with the neighborhood, consistent with and in character with the lots that exist in the street and in the neighborhood. I probably should have called out the frontage on that exhibit, but we had to expand the exhibit so we could get a good sampling of lots in the neighborhood. I did have an opportunity to go back and look at the frontage in preparation for tonight's meeting, and as Dylan noted in his comments, there's only 2 lots that have more than 50 feet of frontage, and one of them is our lot, 44 Lundberg Street. Many of the lots have less than 50 feet of frontage. So what we are proposing is certainly consistent and in character with the neighborhood. We received the staff comments from Dylan. Basically comments 1 through 3 just summarize what we're proposing. Comment number 4 is directly on point in terms of our request for the reduction of frontage. Dylan points out that the frontage along Lundberg Street ranges from 31 to 78 feet, and that, as I said, only 2 lots on Lundberg exceed more than 50 feet. Again, what we're proposing is consistent with the existing neighborhood. Comment number 5 speaks to the applicant's request for floor area ratio that was addressed with the zoning board. Comment number 6 speaks to the lot area. As I mentioned, and as I exhibit in the attachment to the application, we are well within the parameters of what the existing lots are in the neighborhood at 5,500 square feet. Comment number 7 relates back to lot area per dwelling unit, also addressed with the zoning board. Comment number 8 points out that most of the lots in the area range from 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. Again, we've addressed that. Comment number 9 suggests that the applicant keep as many existing trees on the property as possible. That is certainly the intent of the applicant, and we are also proposing to add a couple of trees. And comment number 10 concludes that the proposal matches the development pattern of the neighborhood, and really they do not have any concerns with the application. As the board knows, the criteria for issuance of the special permit requires that this board make a determination that any adverse effects of the proposal do not outweigh the beneficial impacts to the city and the neighborhood. This proposal before you is consistent with the city master plan and Sustainable Lowell 2025 by creating an additional housing lot, which is clean, new, energy-efficient housing. We also believe that we've established that the beneficial impacts of the project would far exceed any negative. We don't believe there are any negative aspects to this project whatsoever. And finally, the redevelopment of the property will ultimately enhance the character of the neighborhood by adding this newly created constructed home with landscaping features on the lot. So the applicant's requesting approval of the special permit tonight. At this point, I'll turn the presentation over to Matt so he can review the plans with the board. Thank you.
Good evening. For the record, Matt Hammer with Lamplex Engineering, 10 George Street, Lowell, Mass. On the property today is an existing single-family, a shed, and numerous other sheds in size, 2 here and then 1 here. There's a few trees, predominant trees on the property that are shown here, as well as walkways and an existing paved driveway area for the single family that's existing today. We're proposing to subdivide the property into 2 lots. One lot would be 55 feet by 100, giving us 5,500 square feet, and identical on the additional lot. This is the proposed 2-story single-family dwelling with a garage, a porch area, a proposed driveway utilizing an existing curb cut that's there today, which is actually right here. So we're going to utilize that existing curb cut. And there's going to be proposed 2 shade trees as well along the roadway. And in the rear, there's going to be some subsurface infiltration drainage on the rear of the property. This is elevation perspective from the roadway. This would be looking at it in this direction from the roadway. This is the another view from the roadway showing the garage, the porch, the overhangs on the roof line with the dormers as well. And then this is a view of the rear of the property. These are the elevations. This is the front. This is the rear of the property. This is the right side. This is the front entrance of the with the porch, and this is the opposite side of the left. I can walk through the floor plan if you'd like.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So here's the main floor here. Here's the front porch with the entranceway. Here's the garage entrance here. Coming in, there'll be a dining room, kitchen area, family room, and a mudroom coming off of that rear entrance, and also comes off of the garage before entering into the dwelling. This is the second floor. There's 3 bedrooms. Well, there's a master bedroom with a master bath, walk-in closet, a primary bedroom here with a separate bath, hallway, laundry room area, and then there's a bonus room here as well on that second floor. And this is Cathedral actually coming up the stairwell as well, coming up here. And I can answer any questions
Thank you.
from the board while I'm here, or I can just turn it over to Attorney Geary.
Thank you, Matt. So we've provided a pretty thorough explanation of the proposal. Again, we feel we meet all the criteria for issuance of the special permit, and we are requesting approval this evening. But we're happy to answer any questions or address any concerns that the board members may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel. At this point in time, I'll open the meeting up to the public. Anybody like to speak in favor of this project?
Hi, my name's William Faulkner. I live across the street from the Olivers. I'm in favor of this project. It's enhanced the neighborhood, and it's the Olivers have been in their neighborhood for years and years. So, and her father was a great man. He owned a store in the area. He owned a couple properties down the street. They've always been good people. So, I'm in favor of this project.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak in favor?
Hi, my name is Linda Oliver Brusso, and this property belonged to my dad and my grandparents before that. And my grandparents, over the years, kept purchasing land to the left of them from a Mrs. Walsh. He would buy 10 feet at a time, and his property land accrued over the years. My dad's brother lives next door. His only concern, he was here at the last meeting, his only concern was that we were not building on top of him. He was afraid we were too close to him. And I've been told that the house itself is at least 15 feet away from the property line, and there's another 15 feet before his house, and hardly any homes on that street have 30 to 40 feet between them. It's a very nice piece of property. My dad's house is set all the way to the left on the 11,000 square feet. In the beginning, we even looked at maybe putting a 2-family condo there, but looking over the neighborhood and not feeling that it really belonged there, even though if you look from my dad's driveway to the back of his property is 110 feet. There are 4 two-families behind him, and he's the only single family that abuts them at all. So you're directly looking behind them, and we know the people very well, and they were very likable. My dad actually has a sign in his yard that says Bill's Farm. He always grew tomatoes and peppers and gave them, and flowers, and gave them to everybody. He had many, many friends in that neighborhood. He often wanted me to build a house in the yard so that I would live there. He lived to be 97, and I own a house on the other side of the city near Shed Park that was also my husband's family house, so, which is a two-family. And my husband's passing. The two-family is better for me than to own a single family and have to be responsible for it. It was a very hard decision to split the house, but I talked with a realtor, and he introduced me to a really nice young couple that are interested in buying my father's house, which is to the left of the property. They're in accordance, they're really happy with the gentleman that wants to build the property. We could have broken it down a little bit less. My father's house has a driveway with it that has 4 parking spaces, and even at that, the new build could have been a lot bigger, but they were really diligent, and after much consideration, they decided to break it down 50-50 so that they each own 50.5, which is exactly in half, which leaves as much space between the dwellings as possible. I think that we're in accordance with all the setbacks. My grandfather had already put a setback in case I wanted to pull a truck into the yard for any reason, years and years ago. I've talked to many of the neighbors in the neighborhood. The gentleman that lives to the left of my father's house, Jose Joe, he barely speaks English. He didn't want to sign anything, but he's totally in agreement with it. Very, very nice gentleman. He has no problem with it. And Bill Faulkner lives across the street. The lady to the right of his name's Catherine Gabriel. I went to visit her, and she has no problem at all with it. She was delighted when I told her that it wouldn't be a huge complex. It will be a single-family house that will indeed enhance the neighborhood. I've looked at the plans myself, and I'm really pleased with them, and I'm glad that we're trying to go this way instead of something much bigger. It's a beautiful piece of property, and I think it will do nothing but enhance the other properties on Lundberg Street. And if you do go down Lundberg Street off of Gorham, where George's Deli is on the corner there, most of those houses have very little room between them. I mean, very little room. Some of them have like a 6-foot alleyway. In fact, we sold the house across the street from my dad's that abuts Billy's house. I think there's like 2 or 3 feet between them. And this house right across the street, there'll be over 30 feet between them. So we're in no way compromising anybody else's space, and all the people I talked to have seemed very pleased. Thank you for your consideration with listening to us.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Anybody else like to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing none. Any of the board members have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may?
Sure. Mr. Fischett?
So, first of all, I want to thank Attorney Gary, and actually Dylan also in his comment letter really touched on the points that I want to see in these packages when there's an application under this special permit. I think, Peter, you can remember from your prior stint here, this is what I've always asked for, is to see, what we're tasked with doing is to see if it fits in with the neighborhood. And so it was a nice thorough breakdown of the surrounding lots relative to the lot sizes as well as the frontage. And this is very consistent with the surrounding frontages and lot sizes, and in many cases, it exceeds a lot of the frontages and a lot of the lot sizes, and to the point that was made, as we all are diligent in doing our site visits, but I took pictures of the homes where it's an alleyway in between the homes, the very thing that I look for is the very thing that was mentioned, is that there's 15 feet from the new house, and there was enough space from the existing house on that side where they weren't on the lot line. So, you know, you're looking at to see what happens if this goes in. Is it going to change that in a drastic way? And to the owner, the applicant, I appreciate the fact that, you know, the very virtue of the size versus the zoning required the variances. However, you didn't push the envelope and ask for a variance for side yard setback or rear yard setback. You know, so you fit the house within the lot, and that was important. So those are all checks off all the elements when I look at that special permit. The design of the house, I think, is I like it. You got everything. You got a porch, you got a garage, but yet it's not oversized. I think there was a 3-bedroom home as well. Matt, if you could just go over, though, for my mind, I'm just trying to figure out the existing curb cut, because I know it's very, very wide for the driveway, and I'm just trying to see how so the existing curb cut that I was looking at,
It's right here.
so, but there's a large, okay, so
This is existing to this existing
Right,
house.
right.
Which we're not going to touch.
yeah,
And then this one here, there's a 9-foot wide curb cut
you know what
here.
I'm thinking? There was actually a pickup truck parked right in front of it, so that's why I didn't see it. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so just naturally,
Yeah, I honestly didn't see it, because there was a pickup truck parked right there when I was there.
it was just odd that there was a curb cut there and nothing else there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was intended to be a curb cut for
Yeah, because
another lot.
the fence just goes right along.
Might have been a house on there at some point,
That's fine.
you know, and they decided to just leave it. So it just worked out nicely that we could utilize that
Yeah,
existing curb cut.
yeah, no, perfect, and I like the addition of the trees, so I really have no issues with the proposal, so, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Caleb, any questions?
Not really. I concur with Member Frechette on the house being meeting spirit of the special permit, and I also appreciate staff and the applicant doing the analysis. I think that presents a clear case on like how it merits the special permit. So I'm quite positive on the proposal. So thank you.
Thank you.
Attorney Gary, I know you went through the staff comments. Did you address the engineering comments? They were on the bottom part. There was a question about
Yeah,
the large trees. I know there's the 2 big trees to the rear, and then to the right, there's that really nice red tree.
the intent is to keep all the trees, but, you know, as I said at the zoning board meeting, it's going to depend upon the, you know, how spread out the roots are for one of those trees that's close to the foundation. So if it can be saved, it will be saved.
Yeah.
But it's sort of going to be, as I said, a game time decision.
Yeah. Yeah, because the tree to the right of the property, that red one there is real pretty, actually.
Yeah,
Then if you
they
look
all
one
are.
one to the back or back further, and there
Right.
green trees up, that one's there, like, they're the ones in the back, I just mixed those.
Really, it's going to depend on the root structure for any tree
Okay,
that's close
all
to
right.
where the foundation's proposed.
So, wait, you know, when the engineer made the one comment that there was limited on-street parking,
Yeah.
if the house were to be moved 3 feet to the right, it would allow for the driveway to be extended to the left of the garage and provide additional on-street parking?
Yeah, I don't think there's any, we're not impacting the on-street parking at all. We have an existing curb cut.
Yep.
We're not adding to the on-street parking. We probably can get 3 car, with the 1-car garage, we can probably get 2 other cars in that driveway. So there's no need to move any closer to the neighbor's property where we are. So We saw that comment, but we don't think we need to address it.
Because I know the house to the left there, that is quite a big, long driveway.
Yeah,
Goes all the
exactly.
way
That's
in,
got a
yeah.
long driveway
Yeah.
going back along the
Right.
side of the house.
Yeah, because I was up there last Wednesday, and I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Faulkner, and he gave me a good education about the whole neighborhood. And he filled me in on everybody, and he was totally for it, and we stood right there, we saw the curb cut, and
Good.
he gave me the history of the young man, he praised this young lady's father, and said how great of a gentleman he was, and he gave the tomatoes out to the neighborhood, and he told me the people on the right and the left were all in favor of it, and that's
like
one of the
a
things I
close-
enjoy about this
close-knit
job
neighborhood.
is when you go out to do a planning site and you meet the neighbors and you get their comments and people who live there, and he says, everybody he's talked to is in favor of it, so.
Right.
That I find very rewarding, and I happen to know Mr. Forte, he does a lot of mason work in my neighborhood. He actually did some work on my steps and my bulkhead a few years back, after he did my neighbors across the street, and my neighbor on the other side of the street up on Raven Road, you know? So I know he
very
does
good
good
work.
work up there. Yeah, I mean, once I was up there, and once I heard from Mr. Faulkner, I saw that we received a letter that was sent to the zoning board for the variance that
Yeah.
he wrote down that he was in favor with his wife and as well as his family. And yeah, it's a beautiful lot up there, and he gave me the whole history, talked about George's Delicatessen and the variety store, and he filled me in on the neighborhood, and I said, and we had a great conversation. I really enjoyed meeting the gentleman and getting the history. I always like to hear the history of the neighborhoods and knowing the people who really support the neighborhood. And obviously, it's nice to come to a planning board meeting and hear the neighbors supporting the project.
I agree 100%.
And it's going to affect the neighbors more than anybody else, as we all know.
Yeah.
We approve things, but, the people who live there, they're the ones who are going to live with it, and if it's good for them, I'm definitely in favor of it. I think it's a good project, and I give the neighbors a lot of credit for coming out and speaking for it. It's, a lot of people don't always do that, they just, don't think, but when they come out, it really helps the board make our decision, so I'm in favor of the project as well. I think it's going to be real nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome, so. You have any conditions that you think we need? No?
No, well, Mr. Chairman, I guess,
Only
just,
thing I was talking to Mr. Bichette about is any conditions that we think is appropriate. I know they talked about if you need any curbing, it has to be the vertical VA granite, which is done by the engineer's office anyways. I'm sure there's no problem with that. Matt, any? They
That's
talked about
correct, there is no
engineering.
problem.
Any curbing had to be done, it had to be vertical?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean.
And I was going to make a,
Any concrete sidewalk work has to be done by city standards.
I just would reiterate in the approval that, and that's the whole purpose of the special permit, is how the design of the house fits on the, but I just, what's presented here and what we approve is that design, but I would incorporate that into the approval, so there's no misunderstandings. no.
Absolutely, that's-
Because, again, back in the day when it wasn't a special permit for that, you could be shown a house, and that's not what ended up getting built. So I just want to make sure that even people that are here in support of it, part of the reason they're in support of it is the way it looks. Same here as far as the board, so I just would reiterate that in the conditions, that's all.
Any further comments, Caleb, or you
No, I'm good.
satisfied? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to make the motion, Jerry,
Sure,
with that
yep.
condition, or?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the special permit with the condition that the design presented at this meeting and the design and scale of the home presented will be the home that will be built on the site with the landscaping plan that was presented. I would ask, though, that if an inordinate amount of trees are to be removed, that they do work perhaps with DPD to modify the landscape plan to somehow compensate for having to remove some of the trees, within reason. But I think DPD will be reasonable with that.
That's agreeable.
I'll second the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chairman votes yes. Any opposition? Hearing none. All in favor, so the vote is 3 in favor, none against. So the motion carries. Good luck.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Happy Thanksgiving to
Yeah,
all.
thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck.
Very nice.
Take care. Thank you, Matt. Take care, Bill. Nice meeting you again. Always a pleasure. Ed, good luck. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Good luck, ma'am. Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, moving along on the agenda. The next matter is special permit for 730-732 Lawrence Street. The Lowell Planning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by Gladys Cruz to convert the existing structure at the above address from a two-family to a three-family. The subject property is located in traditional mixed-use zoning district. The proposal requires special permit approval from the Lowell Planning Board per Article 12.1 for 3 dwelling units on 1 lot. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. My name is Hushmand Afshar from Taj Engineering LLC, 225 Stedman Street, Lowell, Mass. The applicant is the applicant is actually the new owner of this building, and there is a third floor already existing in this building, which was done as a unit, a separate unit, a long time ago. And the applicant is trying and requesting to legalize it now. The applicant, Mrs. Cruz, who is the new owner, is making every effort, is visiting the site 2-3 times a week to maintain the area, to maintain the building, and assist, help the upkeep of the building. All the 3 units have 2 means of egress to the building. To the unit. One is up front here, one is on the side, and both have access to all the 3 units. The residents of the units, they are all units are actually considered low income. They are sponsored. One is sponsored by Community Teamwork of Lowell, and the other one is actually sponsored by the Lowell Housing Authority. So amongst all the residents of the units, there is only one car, which is being parked at a permitted parking space in front of the building, and that parking space is being renewed every year, and it was recently renewed for this year. It was renewed last month. The other, everyone else, they use public transport. There is not, the applicant is not proposing to do any work outside. There is no work is being proposed on the inside. It's basically mainly legalizing the third unit. I would like to read just one line from the email that Mr. David Fuller, the City of Lowell Building Commissioner, has said in his email. The third floor is finished as a third unit and has been for some time. Secondary means of egress is existing and code compliant, and so on and so forth in this email. So I'm sure, I hope you have a copy of that. I can also show you the floor layout of the units, the 2 units, the first floor and the second floor, and the third floor, which is already done. There are 3 bedrooms, kitchen, dining, bathroom, and main entrance, separate entrance on the third floor. It's basically a complete dwelling place where the housing, especially low-income housing, is needed in the city. We feel this is a very appropriate proposal, especially since already existing units are low-income housing, and it is not additional housing unit for the city. With that, myself or the applicant will be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak on behalf of the applicant? No? Okay. Okay, at this point in time, then, I'll turn it over to the public. Anybody like to speak in favor? Anybody in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. Anybody like to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing none. I'll turn it over to the board members. So, as you indicated, we did get the email from Mr. Fuller. As you said, the third floor is finished as the third unit and has been for some time. Secondary means of egress is existing and code compliant. But he did mention that should the board grant the request, the owner would be compelled to add emergency lighting, separation of utilities for the third floor unit, and register the property with the city for the required certificate of inspection. So that's okay with the applicant, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what else did we receive? We received comments from the engineer, Mr. Cady, and he had no problems with it. We did receive a letter from the deputy chief, Mr. Bob Crabtree. Electrical service would need to be upgraded to include a separate meter for the third floor and one on the common area. These common areas will be required to have hardwired smoke detectors and COs, which detectors for carbon monoxide, and emergency lighting to meet current standards. So you okay with that as well, sir? Okay. Okay. I'm just saying these are some of the comments that we got. Then he just says, I'm sorry, the scope of the project does not seem to require a sprinkler system at this time unless they decide to renovate more than 50% of the building. If the property is changed to a three-family, then my office would require to conduct an inspection within the building department and every 5 years thereafter, okay? And, let's see. Then we had some planning staff thing, and one of their comments, they said the same as you did, sir, that at one time, it was converted to a three-family illegally, and now they bought the property, and now they want to make it legal, and that's why they're before us, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it seems like that happened in the past sometime, correct?
It has happened actually,
Yeah. So now there's a new owner, and they want to make it right by getting approval as a three-family.
Exactly, it's a complete unit.
Yeah, so all, and as you said, all the work is already done. It's just a matter of legalizing it for a new owner. Okay, all right.
Obviously, they're not comfortable.
I hear you, yeah, I hear you. All right. Okay, I'll just go through some of the notes, okay, thank you. Now I'll turn it over to board members now that I notify whatever department comments we had. Caleb, do you have any questions, or?
So I know, staff comments number 1, mentioned that, the applicant will need variance approval for the, relief of minimum lot area and also off-street parking requirements. So have your applicant gone through?
We are going to go before the zoning board a week from tonight.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, I think, to me, I mean, I look at, the proposal, the house, the floor plan makes sense. I think the challenge will be just the parking part. I mean, that's the glaring, I guess, issue that I think we'll have to address and discuss. Now, I understand you mentioned because of the type of housing, there's only one car that is being parked, and that will be expect so, but like, I think the board also have to think about like, you know, in the future, that can change, and there could be more cars, and so that could be a concern. especially when there's well, a little limited street parking on the busy street next to the fire station. So that's my thought on that.
Thank you, Caleb. Mr. Bichette?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I am familiar with the property, very familiar with the property, and I know people that have grew up near there, and I'm well aware of the fact that that apartment has existed for a while. And it has been occupied. So understanding that that area is congested and understand the challenges, but many of the families that live there have a tendency to, well, at one time it was a very populated by a Portuguese community, and a lot of the people actually lived and worked locally and didn't need cars and shopped. And so a lot of the families that settled there didn't even have automobiles. So I'm aware of that. And it has a tendency to attract, I think, tenants that perhaps aren't relying on auto as much. But to Caleb's point, it is a problem, and again, I know people that have lived there, and it's usually a problem when there's a snow emergency and you have to take the cars off the road, and it becomes a real challenge. But I think it's been functioning illegally as an apartment for quite some time. There's nobody here speaking in opposition as to what's happening there. I think it's a good idea to legalize it so that obviously we make sure it's up to code and there aren't any issues. And so I from that perspective, I would be comfortable with approving this, mainly because I happen to be aware that the existing conditions have been there for quite some time, and it seems to have functioned fairly well. So at this point, it's really making it legal so that it's getting the proper oversight as well. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, Mr. Bichette. Yeah, I understand, the situation with the parking, it's always an issue. Obviously, you're trying to get your relief from the zoning board of appeals, so I'll let them address that. But as a site plan, it falls with our purview as well. Because I know, like I say, there's only room for one off-street car up there to begin with, as Caleb said, right across the street from that fire station. But I mean, obviously, would like to see it be legalized apartment, instead of illegal, and I know the people are trying to do the right thing, so I give them a lot of credit for that. Sometimes people just buy it, move in, don't do anything, so I give them credit for that. And I look at a couple of different ways, the people who are gonna move in there, or who are gonna stay there, because as we know, things get bought and sold, they're gonna know they have no parking spaces. So when someone goes, oh, if I'm looking to move in here, where am I gonna park? Well, there's no place to park. So the owner has to consider that when them moving in there, saying, well, am I relying on public transportation, or, or do I use, the Ubers that are available today, or whichever? But I think when people look at a place like that, and like, a lot of places we're developing downtown now have no parking, people are saying like, I know that going in, so if I'm getting a condo somewhere without parking, I know that, and that's what fits my needs. So I'm sure the people who propose to live there know that going in. It's not like,
Unless it becomes a condition of the lease.
right,
And
yeah,
I personally don't really dislike the idea because it encourages using public transportation. We really overuse our cars.
yeah,
I don't need to have 3 cars in my family just because I have one kid. I can carpool, which I'm doing.
yeah,
So the tenant knows very well
Right.
that this is it, no parking.
right, yeah. So, as you say, you take it as is, right? Okay, so I have no further comments on that. So obviously, you're gonna have to go before the zoning board of appeals, which is next week, and to grant your variances, which will include the parking and relief of minimum lot area and usable open space. So,
This is all existing on
yeah, I understand, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so we need a motion for a special permit.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion with just the condition, and it really goes without saying, but that the third unit must be fully compliant with city code as noted by the building inspector in his comments.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second the
Motion second by Mr. Caleb. Chair votes yes. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries. You have 3 in favor, none against. Good luck, wish you well, sir. Good luck, thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay, so moving along on the agenda, we have further comments from the planning board members.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, as I told you a long time ago, Mr. Chairman, stick around because you are going to see a new Rourke Bridge. And so I have been serving on the advisory committee going back to when Bernie Lynch was the manager in the city. So that's how long the advisory committee has been meeting. And we did have a meeting on November 15th in preparation for a public hearing that will be taking place in December. The update from the meeting was more or less it's on schedule. The 25% design submission is complete. It's now, they're working on the environmental assessment. They're coordinating with FEMA to finalize the hydraulic study. And they look to be preparing to advertise the project next year. And that'll be in 2024, 2025. It'll be design, build, procurement process, which means they can actually move forward without 100% design being complete. So it really helps to expedite the project. So that was positive development to see how they're moving forward with that, with the idea that by the third quarter of 2025, you would be seeing a shovel go into the ground with a completion date of 2028. The public can participate in the public meeting, which is scheduled for December 6th at 6 p.m. And you can go to www.mass.gov/Rourke-bridge/replacement project. And the cost of the project right now, and it has escalator clause in there, is $190 million. And so pretty much going on schedule. There's a slight alignment of Old Ferry Road that they had to make an adjustment. They're working out with Market Basket because they will be encroaching a bit on that property as they come down at the intersection of Old Ferry. But I think at this point, I think people will be pleased with the finished product as far as what's being proposed. So I'm looking forward to the progress on that.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any other comments from board members? Anything, Caleb? No? No. Okay, this time we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good night and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Have a nice holiday.